Hello, hello, everybody. Hello, good evening. Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to another live. Here we are again for another live on a lovely Friday. Here we are. Yeah. Hello, hello. Vinicio, good evening, my dog. Good evening, Vinicio. Yeah, let me shout you out here, man. There you go. Yeah, that's cool, man. My dog. That sounded very yo. Yeah, that's cool, man. Good evening to you. Hope you're doing well. Hey, everybody. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Welcome to another live. Today, we're going to be talking about a little bit of, acquiring words, learning new words through music, specifically. Yeah. How to memorize vocabulary, and don't forget the words you memorize, right? And how music can help you with that. Yeah. So let's just wait for a little bit, see if people are joining. Watering the pipes as usual. Yeah. Very important. Very, very important. Yazid. Hey, how's it going? I'm doing well. Hope you're doing well too. Welcome again for another live. Hope you guys had a good week. Yeah. Hope you've had a good week so far. And hope you're looking forward to the weekend. Yeah. Looking forward to the weekend. This week it was was pretty busy around here, posting I posted two lessons, two videos on the channel this week. If I remember correctly, the Monday lesson, the Monday video that I posted was about sounding robotic in English. Yeah. What can you do to fix that and to sound not so robotic, to sound more natural? And then the Wednesday video was about moving from B2 to C1 level. I believe last week I did moving from B1 to B2. So this week was about B2 to C1. Yeah, just to give you an overview of what it's involved. Yeah. And achieving those levels. By the way, if you haven't seen those lessons, yeah, make sure you watch the videos later. All right. Jones or Jonas, good evening, teacher. What have you been up to? I'm here again. Hello, Jones. Welcome back to the live. Yeah, to another live. I'm doing well. Yeah, doing well. Just working a lot. Yeah, but it's fun work. Yeah, I like teaching. I like teaching. I like talking about English, helping people learn English. So it's fun. Can't complain. Hope you're doing well too. By the way, that is a very nice question. Yeah, that you asked. What have you been up to? Guys, this is a great variation for how's life, or what have you been doing lately? What have you been doing recently? It sounds much more conversational and colloquial. So it's a great variation for how are you? If you don't want to use how are you all the time, imagine you are at the mall and then you meet a friend and then you say, "Oh, nice to see you here. What have you been up to?" Yeah. Listen to the connected speech here. What have you been up to? So what I'm doing is not what have, but it's a what have. Can you hear that? What have, what have, what have you, what have you, what have you, what have you been up to? What have you been up to? That's how we would ask. All right. Let me shout out some people here who are joining just now. Jose or Jose, greetings from El Salvador. Greetings, Jose. Welcome to the live. Then we have Guillermo. Guillermo, yeah? Hi, Thiago. Greetings from Argentina. Greetings, Guillermo. Welcome. Nice to have you here. Hope you are doing well. Then we got Esteban Morales. Greetings from Colombia. You're an outstanding teacher, dude. Thank you so much, Esteban. Really appreciate that. Thanks for following the channel here. It means a lot. And that's a great word. That's a great word. Excuse me. Great word. Yeah. Outstanding. Yeah. Outstanding is like fantastic. Yeah. Quite advanced word. Yeah. I would put that word in B2, C1 category. So well done for using it. Merlin James, hello. Greetings from Texas. Wow, Texas. Greetings, Merlin. Welcome to the live. Good to have you here. Jones is saying that he watched both videos on Spotify. Yeah, good to know, man. Yeah, glad you enjoyed the lessons. Very good. Um, oh, look at that. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. Is it um Bunga or Bonga? I'm not sure if the M is pronounced. I'm sorry about that. But hello, Thiago. A warm greetings from Belgium. Amazing. Belgium. 3:07 a.m. here. Wow. Brave. You are so brave. Yeah. I mean, I'm going to ask the same question to some of you. I mean, don't you ever sleep? Yeah. But nice to have you here. Yeah. Welcome to the live. That's great. And Guillermo says, I've been watching all your lives here on YouTube, so helpful. Thank you for following the lives as well, Guillermo. Yeah, I appreciate that. The lives are a new, let me show here. The lives are a new thing here on the channel. Yeah. And yeah, I'm glad to know that you have been following the lives. By the way, this is live 4. Yeah. So it's already been a month since I started doing the lives. Yeah. Time flies. That's great. Shine Cold, greetings from Mexico. Hello. Hope you're doing well. Welcome to the live. And hello, Thiago. Greetings from Russia. Hello. Yeah, welcome to the live. Very nice, guys. Before I get started with today's topic that I prepared for you about learning vocabulary through music specifically, let me remind you all that Group 2 of my Speaking Accelerator begins officially next Monday, Monday the 15th of September. This is a great opportunity for you to practice your English in a flexible way without having classes because we're gonna be talking on Telegram via audio messages. You will get to learn a lot of vocabulary related to movies, music, TV series, and books. You know, so imagine you want to talk about your favorite movies. Don't say, "Oh, this movie is good. I like this movie." I mean, there are so many other words you can use to describe your favorite movies, TV series, books, and music. So that's what this group is all about. For 3 weeks, we're going to be talking about these topics. You will learn a ton of grammar and vocabulary to discuss those topics, and you will get my feedback via audio on your speaking. So the deadline is approaching, so I highly recommend you join if you are interested. The link is here in the description of the live. All right, description of the video as well. But make sure you join. It's going to be great to talk to you directly on Telegram for 3 weeks. Now in September. All right. Very, very nice. Let's see if we got some more comments here. Camilo, hello Camilo, glad to see you. Mr. Chago, glad to see you. Camilo from Colombia. Yes, I remember you. Camilo, yes, welcome again to another live. Thank you very much for being here. Holy schmoly, are you watching at 3 a.m.? God damn. Oh, that's funny. Okay, guys, so let's talk about the topic for today. And today I want to talk to you a little bit about how music can help you memorize words correctly without ever forgetting them. We're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of using music for English learning and English vocabulary. By the way, you can share here in the comments. In the meantime, do you listen to music in English? Do you have this habit of listening to music? If so, what is your favorite style of music? Your favorite music genre? What are your favorite genres? You like rock? You like pop? Country? Yeah, share here your favorite genres. If you have a favorite singer or band or artist, also share here. I'm curious to know if you guys use music, you listen to music in English, and what kind of music you listen in English. All right. But let me pull up my presentation here. So, how I memorize words correctly without ever forgetting. Let's talk about using music to master English vocabulary. All right. Look, when it comes to acquiring new words or learning new words in English, to me, in my experience, there are three main steps you have to go through. Step number one, as you can see here on the slide, is exposure. You need exposure to the word. This is about constant contact with words through repeated listening. All right. Um, if you don't have exposure to the vocabulary, you will never retain it. You will never memorize it. So, exposure is about seeing a word or expression multiple times, sometimes even several times over, you know, a predetermined period. It could be a short period, it could be a long period, but you have to see that word over and over and over and over again. All right? Repetition. If you only see the word once, you might feel like you learn it in the moment. Like, if I teach you a new word now in this live, let's say I teach you the word uplifting. Some music is uplifting. Uplifting means something that is positive, that makes you feel good, makes you feel happy. It boosts your mood, right? So if you're feeling a little bit down, maybe put on some uplifting music and then you feel better. You see, that's the meaning of uplifting. So I just taught you a new word. For example, uplifting. You just saw this word now. So you were just exposed to that word now. But if you don't review that word later, if you don't see that word in other occasions later, you will forget it. You will forget it. All right. So exposure is all about that. It's about saying the word, the expression repeatedly over and over again. That's step one for you to improve vocabulary in English. Now, step two, and I believe this is where many learners actually fail at, is the activation phase. Activation is about engaging with the vocabulary meaningfully. All right. In the context of a song, think about maybe singing the song. All right. When you sing aloud to your favorite song, your favorite artist. So exposure would be listening to the song and checking the lyrics, for example. You are being exposed to the language there. Activation would be, for example, singing it. All right. In other contexts, aside from music, activation is about using the word that you are trying to incorporate. So let's go back to the word uplifting again. You have just been exposed to the word uplifting that I just shared the definition with you. Aside from reviewing that word multiple times, you also have to consciously, deliberately use that word if you want it to be part of your active vocabulary. All right. Like, oh, that's a nice word, uplifting. I really want to use it more often. So you need to use it. All right. So activation is key. All right. Because, if you are not deliberate or intentional with this activation of the vocabulary, you might develop a very large passive vocabulary. What I mean by that is that you might come to a point where you have a good range of passive vocabulary. When you see words in a text, in a song, in a movie, somebody speaks with you, you understand, but you are not able to use those words yourself when you produce English, maybe when you write something or when you speak something. Yeah, so activation is useful if you want to move your words from the passive vocabulary box, as I call it, to the active vocabulary box. All right. A third step when it comes to acquiring vocabulary is contextualization. All right. This is about understanding words within stories and meaningful contexts, learning the word or the expression through the context, in context, not learning them individually. All right. So, in my experience, these are the three main things you have to do to improve your vocabulary in English. Tons of exposure to the new vocabulary. Activate that vocabulary by actively using it, especially if you want to make it part of your active vocabulary box, and contextualize it. Learn the vocabulary in context. All right. Now, when it comes to music, I think music is great because you can do all these three things simply by listening to music. You know, it's a very easy way, I find, to incorporate, to implement all these three steps, because the exposure is just about listening to the song. Every time you are listening to your favorite song or reading the lyrics, you are being exposed to that vocabulary. Activation, like I said earlier, could be you trying to sing along. Okay? You listen to the song and you are singing along as you are doing your activities around the house, for example. You're doing your things. Singing along is a very active habit, you know? So this is you actively using that vocabulary. Another example of activating vocabulary from music, aside from singing, could be maybe selecting a word or a phrase and writing something with it. You know, maybe writing a short paragraph about an idea using that word, or writing a short story, you know, using that expression from the song that you learned. This is also activation. Yeah. So activation is about using the language that you are being exposed to. All right. And contextualization, because usually songs, if you look at their lyrics, they have a story. Usually they tell a story or they make a point. It's usually these two things. I think that songs either tell a story or they make a point. They make a statement. So this is great because you are learning languages via context. All right. Sometimes you might see a word that if you look up the meaning in the dictionary, it has one meaning. But in the song, in the context of the song, you might realize that that first definition you saw in the dictionary doesn't really match with the context of the song. So probably that word is being used another way in that context. That's why it's important for you to practice English via context. All right. Let me just pull up some of your comments here, see if you have shared a little bit about the genres you listen to. My favorite band is Bon Jovi. Yeah, I love Bon Jovi too. Yeah, really, really nice. Although I think it's kind of sad what happened to his voice lately, right? He hasn't been singing the same. Yeah, but I also like Bon Jovi a lot. Let's see what Joan says here. I don't have a specific music style. I hear rock, jazz, reggae, blues. Depends on my mood. Yeah, I mean, some people might be more eclectic, let's say, right? And depending on your mood, you know, if you want to relax, maybe listen to some jazz. If you need some uplifting music, maybe listen to some rock music for the gym, you know. If you are at the beach, for example, chilling with the friends, watching the beautiful ocean, listen to some reggae, yeah. And if you are feeling down, you know, down in the dumps, as we say, you know, if you're having a bad day, just, you know, put on some blues and then you're good to go. Yeah. The blues is like, you know, it's the lonely song, you know, it's for you to listen like by yourself, you know. If you have a drink, you know, if you like to drink, maybe having a drink, you know, that kind of stuff. All right. By the way, just going back to the blues here, the blues is actually that, guys. I mean, there's an expression in English, yeah? We can say, I got the blues. If you say, I got the blues, it means that I'm feeling sad today. I'm feeling down. I'm feeling, you know, not so good. I got the blues. Yeah. So originally, the blues is about that. It's about a guy singing about his heartbreak with the girl he loves, and the girl doesn't like him back, that kind of thing, or the guy is kind of lonely, you know. It's like the blues has that vibe, yeah, of sadness, yeah. In case you were wondering, Vinicius, hip hop is hard to learn English. I've been trying to learn with hip hop, however, I don't get it, so I had to come back to to Johnny Cash. Johnny Cash, yeah, the country singer, right? Yeah, classic. Yeah. But look, I think that styles like hip hop, rap, and even like hard rock or heavy metal, they are great for challenges. You know, if you want to challenge yourself, maybe with something faster or with a lot of slang, you know, listen to some rap or hip hop or rock, might be very good, you know. But in general for English learning, right? Yes, you want to listen to stuff like Johnny Cash, the Beatles, things that are easier to understand if your purpose is to study, right? But then every now and then for a little challenge, of course, I mean, put on some Eminem, for example, yeah, and listen to it, right? Absolutely. Yeah. It's very useful for your listening as well, listening to like fast songs, like maybe rap, hip hop, or hard rock, right? Um, Let me see here. Leonardo says music has a very particular language sometime. Yeah, I mean, it's very peculiar, right? The good thing about music is that sometimes the singer alters the way they pronounce the word to fit the melody, So it might not be exactly as you would speak it in speech. So that happens. Okay, let me see if I have another one here. Oh, great. Merlin says, I like REO Speedwagon. Me too. Yeah, love it. Yeah, I love REO Speedwagon. Great band. They came out, I think, in the late 70s, but they became prominent in the 80s. Yeah, many famous songs. One of my favorite songs, actually, from them is not even one of the hits, I think. It's a song that the bass player sings, and it's called Back on the Road Again. Back on the Road Again. I think it's from the album Nine Lives or something like that. I don't know if it's Nine Lives. The album cover is like, is the five guys of the band with some girls dressed as cats. I forgot the name of the album. Yeah, it's kind of red. Yeah, but I think it's from 78 or 79, maybe that album. But yeah, the song is Back on the Road Again. Guys, this song is amazing. Back on the Road Again by REO Speedwagon. It's the bass player actually that sings that one. It's not the main singer, the lead singer. Really, really cool. Um, Jose says, I like some classic rock from the 70s, like Supertramp, Arlen Parson, Guns N' Roses, but it is hard to understand. Yeah, all great artists, Jose. But yeah, sometimes it can be hard to understand. I like Guns N' Roses, for example. Yeah, the way that Axel sings, you know, can be hard to understand, especially if the song is kind of fast. Like, they have a song called Paradise City. Paradise City it can be hard to understand because there's a lot of words. Yeah. And he sings those lines very, very fast. All right. Really, really cool. Let me go back here to the presentation, guys, so that we can continue. So these are the three steps for you to acquire new vocabulary, and music can help you with all of them. All right. Now, again, music provides you with exposure because you can listen to songs over and over, and that creates the word exposure. Music promotes activation because you can sing along vocabulary and use it in meaningful ways. Like you can sing the song and activate vocabulary in meaningful ways. Yeah. And telling stories and conveying meaningful messages. Um, I think that this is very important, for you to pick your favorite songs, read the lyrics, and try to understand what the message is. What is the main message of that song? Is the singer singing about maybe a love story, a relationship, or is the song maybe protesting against something? Or is the song talking about partying all day, having fun, having a good time? What is the main message of the song? It's really nice for you to do that because it helps you develop your critical thinking as well. Yeah, analyzing the lyrics and the main message of the song. And the interesting thing is that you might find that If you start doing that more often, like if you start reading the lyrics to the songs you listen to, you might realize that some songs have very silly lyrics, very stupid lyrics. You go like, "Oh my god, I love this song, but the lyrics are horrible. Is that the main message of the song?" You know. On the other hand, you might be surprised at maybe other songs that have great messages or great storytelling. You might go like, "Oh, this song is so rich." I mean, in terms of lyrics, in terms of words. Yeah. So do that more often. I really recommend that. All right. Analyze the meaning of the songs you listen to. Don't just listen to them, but understand what they are talking about. All right. Moving on here, I want to go over now some benefits. Okay. Why music works for language learning. Music offers natural, engaging, and effective learning benefits. Let me list some of them. First of all, engagement and immersion. Music is more than just entertainment. If you use music well in your English practice, you can create a fun, immersive learning environment. And remember that regular exposure to English songs is essential for learning English well. I always talk about being exposed to English, right? So, one way for you to get this exposure is by listening to songs. Yes, there are movies, there are TV shows, there are podcasts, but you can also use music for that. And as you can see here in the image, listen and feel. The great thing about songs as well is that they are highly emotional, right? Usually, music makes you feel something, right? Just like I think I forgot who said it. It depending on the mood, you might listen to something different, yeah, a different kind of music. Exactly, because music makes you feel something, and whenever you can attach some feeling with whatever you're trying to learn, that is very powerful for you to never forget it. If you can attach a word with a feeling, maybe through a song that you like, chances are you will not forget that word. I mean, there are many words that I know today that I learned from songs, songs that I love, songs that I like to listen to, and I never forgot the meaning of those words or those words themselves. You know, because I was exposed to those words a lot, and they carry meaning to me because I like the song, I like the artist, and that maybe that song made me feel something when I first listened to that. You see? So this connection of music and feeling is very powerful. Yeah. So I think for learning, that is really beneficial. All right. Here are some brain activation benefits that music provides. It's great to activate multiple areas of your brain. Yeah, music activates different parts of your brain simultaneously. That's very nice. It's great for older learners. If you are an older learner already, yeah, if you're not that young, it's great because there is that emotional component and the idea of activating many parts of your brain. All right. There's even music therapy, for example. Yeah. And they have done studies like using music therapy in old retirement homes, people with Alzheimer's, and certain music or songs help people remember things. Yeah. Even if they have a condition like Alzheimer's disease, for example. So it is very powerful. Yeah. Um, and music and language learning naturally complement each other. Yeah, because if you guys saw my video from Monday, yeah, this week, I talk about sounding robotic. Yeah, how to stop sounding robotic in English and sound more dynamic. And then in that video, I say that music is like language is like music. You know, each language has a certain melody, a certain rhythm and beat. You see, so language and music, they are very well connected. Yeah. So if you haven't been using music actively to practice English with, you are definitely missing out because these two things are connected. All right. So make sure you do that. You use more music in your studies and practice. Okay. Now, another benefit from music is the natural pronunciation and rhythm that you acquire just by listening to songs, because music in English gives you exposure to authentic English pronunciation patterns. All right. Connected speech, for example, that's great. You can learn, you can pick up how the words are connected simply by listening to songs. Yeah. Rhythm and tone as well. You can learn natural rhythm, tone, and the pace of English speaking. And familiarity. You can become comfortable with authentic language aspects. All right. Especially because many songs, they have some words that are very hard for you to learn in a textbook or in a course book. All right. So because of that, we can call it authentic material that you're using. You are using authentic material to practice your English with. All right. Vocabulary and phrases. Look, another great thing about songs is that they can teach you common phrases, common everyday phrases. You can acquire everyday vocabulary and expressions simply by listening to the songs. All right. Also, colloquial language. Colloquial language is language that is not really textbook, and it's the language that native speakers usually use in their day-to-day conversation. You know, and if you use more colloquial language, it makes you sound more natural. All right. So by being exposed to English through music, you get to learn also more colloquial expressions and colloquial language. All right. Therefore, you access language that is beyond textbooks. All right. Beyond maybe what you would learn at an English school or even at school. All right. That's why it's powerful. Okay. For example, I love Michael Jackson. Yeah. I mean, I love to listen to Michael Jackson. It took me a long time, guys. It took me a long time to learn that that song of his, Beat It, it took me a long time to learn that beat it means leave, get out of here. You know? You know that song, Get Beat It, right? By Michael Jackson. So, in the context of the song, he's talking about gangs fighting each other, right? And he goes, just beat it. It means just leave, just get out of here. Let's not fight, you see? But it took me a long time to learn that because, it is an example of a slang, of colloquial language. I mean, I would have never learned that in a textbook or in a course, in a formal course, I mean. Yeah, and that's just one example. There's so many other types of colloquial language that you can learn, yeah, with music. It's really cool. Let's move on here to the next slide. Another great benefit of using music for English learning is the cultural understanding that music provides you with. There are many different genres and artists, right? And each genre represents a certain cultural context and a certain era. So if you listen to songs from the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, the 2000s, each one of these decades had prominent or popular genres of music that were more mainstream. And those songs from those decades revealed generational thinking, like, what that generation was thinking about, how young people from the 80s, from the 90s, from the 2000s used to think or behave. You see, so you get a snapshot, culturally speaking, of what each generation went through or what was important for each generation. I believe that each generation has their own music. Yeah. So it gives you an insight into that aspect as well. All right. And music serves as each generation's way of expressing itself. And still talking about the cultural understanding, it even goes beyond just the songs or the lyrics, the words. But you know this, right? Music carries fashion with it, ways of dressing, ways of behaving, So it gives you a glimpse, a cultural glimpse of past decades, if you didn't live through them. Yeah. And I think that that is important because it makes you a richer person. You know, it enriches your knowledge of the world, your knowledge of things. You know, it's great for developing your critical thinking as well. Like I said, I mean, if you have this habit of reading the lyrics, analyzing the words, and reflecting on the underlying message of the song, you are engaging in critical thinking. You are developing your critical thinking. And that is really cool. All right. I find that many people listen to songs passively, right? Music is usually that thing that you hear on the background, at the gym or driving to work, right? I mean, that is cool. Yeah, you can use music for that, but also set aside some time to just listen to music. You know, set aside some time, maybe open up your Spotify, or if you are more old school, yeah, put on your vinyl record there and actually just dedicate that time to listen to music. I think that this is something that we are actually missing nowadays more and more, yeah, because in the past, I think it was more common for people to actually have moments when they would just listen to music. You would get the album, the CD, put it on, sit down and just listen to the whole album. And you would look at the images on the cover and the lyrics and the artist photos, and listening to that album in your imagination combined, it was a magical experience. Yeah. So I highly recommend you do that as well. Don't use music only as something that is played in the background. You know, set aside some time to actively listen to it. Just like maybe you sit down to watch one episode of your favorite TV series. Also, make sure you do that with music. Okay, today I'm gonna listen to this artist that I love, or I'm going to listen to this album today. Usually, full albums are like 40 to 50 minutes long. Yeah. I'm just going to lay back and listen to that album today and maybe read some lyrics here. All right. So remember that. Have that habit of reading lyrics, analyzing the words, and reflecting on their meaning, on the main message as well. Music is also great for pronunciation practice, of course, right? Especially if you sing along. Yeah. The purpose here is not for you to sing great. You don't have to be a great singer. Remember, the purpose here is for you to improve your English. So, just sing it. Yeah. Sing along your favorite songs. And that's going to help you with your pronunciation as well, your connected speech as well. So make sure you do that if you haven't been doing that yet. You know, it's great for enunciation. Yeah. It improves articulation and overall speaking skills. It's a funny thing. I find that for some reason, at least in my experience, many of the English teachers I've met in my life, they have something musical about them. It's a funny thing. Yeah. I mean, I've been teaching English now for 20 years, right? And I have met many colleagues, yeah, in this area. And I can tell you that I've met many teachers who are musicians of some sort. They play an instrument or they are very much into music. So maybe there is something there. Maybe there's a connection with that. I mean, I myself, I love music. I play guitar. I've been playing guitar since I was 7. I sing as well, so maybe there is something to it. Yeah. English teaching and music. Yeah. Musician. Yeah. There is that. Yeah. But look, even if you're not that musically inclined, hopefully these reasons that I'm giving you today will encourage you to start incorporating music more in your day-to-day practice, because as you can see, it can be very powerful. All right. Of course, music is great for grammar and vocabulary practice as well. It enriches your vocabulary through slang, colloquialisms, and idioms like expressions, right? Grammar structures. You can practice, for example, the simple past, present perfect through songs. Yeah. And nowadays, with Google or even AI, you can actually easily search for that. Give me a list of 10 songs that have simple past in the lyrics. You're going to have 10 songs. Or give me a list of 10 songs that have present perfect. in the lyrics. You know, I mean, you know that classic from Creedence, right? Creedence Clearwater Revival. Yeah. Have you ever seen the rain? Yeah. I mean, have you ever seen the rain? That's present perfect. Have you ever seen the rain? Look at that. Yeah. There's a band from the 80s that I like as well, Roxette, you know? It's actually used to be a duo, yeah, a guy and a woman, Roxette. They have a song called It Must Have Been Love. But you see, the song is called It Must Have Been Love, right? And look at the construction here. This is a more advanced construction. This is a modal in the past. Must is usually present. You must do this, you must do that. This is present. But in the past, I have to say must, have, and the past participle. In this case, been. You see, so it must have been love. The title of the song is already teaching you a more advanced grammar structure, a past modal. You see? So music is powerful for that as well, for you to practice different grammar structures with them. And of course, rhyming words. Usually songs they have words that rhyme in their verses. Yeah, so that is excellent for pronunciation and sound understanding. And then you will realize that there are many words in English that rhyme, and some words they are spelled the same, but they are pronounced differently, and other words are spelled differently, but they sound the same. You know, so you can pick these things up by listening to songs more and paying attention to words that rhyme. You know, I did an episode here on my channel about that, about music, a few months ago. Yeah. And then in that video, I gave an example of a Metallica song that I like, you know, Wherever I May Roam. Yeah. The first verse goes like this, and the road becomes my bride. I have stripped of all but pride. So in her I do confide, and she keeps me satisfied. You see, all these words rhyme. Pride, confide, satisfied. You see? So it's great for pronunciation and for listening skills. All right. So make sure you incorporate music because music is just amazing. It's awesome. It's still about rhyming words. There are sound patterns, you know, songs full of rhyming words, just like this Metallica song I just, shared with you, enhance pronunciation because you start learning how to pronounce these words. Okay, pride, confide, bride, satisfied. You see? Similar sounds, yeah, you can learn words with same endings and sound patterns, and language sounds, better understanding the sounds of English per se, how to pronounce certain words specifically, you know? So, here is what I recommend you do, yeah, to start your musical learning journey. Listen first. First, find the songs you love. Maybe make a playlist on Spotify of every song you love. Then you can practice pronunciation by singing along the songs. And apps like Spotify, they have that feature which allows you to read the lyrics, the animated lyrics, as you're listening to the song. So just pull up the lyrics on Spotify and sing along your favorite songs. All right. After that, you can analyze the lyrics, study the lyrics deeply, maybe take a moment to just read the lyrics, grab a notebook, select some words from the lyrics that you don't know or that you find interesting, and look up their meanings if you don't know their meanings. Or, if you see a word that you like, say to yourself, okay, I'm going to use that word more often, you know? And of course, analyze the meaning of the song. I mean, what is this song talking about? What kind of story or message is this song sharing? You know? And then after that, repeat. Listen to the song again, sing along again, read the lyrics again. It's this constant loop, you know? I guarantee that if you go through that process of being more intentional with music, you will realize that you're going to start incorporating vocabulary and grammar much more naturally and in a way that is more meaningful, powerful, emotional, and that you won't forget. Yeah, because music has this power. Yeah, it's highly, highly emotional. All right. Really, really nice, guys. That's pretty much it. What I had for you today about the power of music. Now, let me see here some comments. Let me open up the live here for a few questions. Yeah. Let me get there you go, the Q&A animation ready to go. So now, let me see some of your comments here. Leonardo, I've been practicing shadowing, listening a lot, and sometimes a bit of speaking, but still feeling stuck. Yeah, it's normal. Yeah, it's a process, right? I don't know how long you have been doing this, Leonardo, but keep doing it. Yeah, keep doing that. Um, Last week, a viewer during the live asked about what kind of shadowing I prefer doing, right? I prefer listening, pausing, and repeating, instead of listening and trying to repeat at the same time, see what works for you. But for me, I was always more pragmatic, yeah, in my learning. So I prefer to listen, pause, and repeat. All right. So try that if you haven't been doing that. Okay. Um, Yazid. Currently, I'm listening to Tesla. Do you mean Tesla the band, like the '80s band? Confirm that, because when I see Tesla, I think of a glam rock band, a glam metal band from the '80s, which is amazing, by the way. I love that band. Let me know if that's what you're thinking about. If there's another artist with the name Tesla, yeah. But there is a metal band from the '80s with that name, Tesla. Um, Venka Chain. Hey, teacher, I'm coming. It's my first time to catch up live stream. Awesome. Yeah. Glad you are here. Yeah. Glad to have you here. And thanks for hanging out. Yeah. On this fine Friday. Jack Scott, do you have a step by step that you recommend for learning English with a song? Yeah. What I presented just now at the end of the slide, my step by step would be this. I would listen to the song first, just have a first listen to get a general idea or feel for it, you know. Then I would practice pronunciation with it by singing along, all right? And then you can sing along or you can pause and try to, you know, uh, sing right after, line by line. Then I would just focus on the lyrics, grammar and vocabulary. So read the lyrics and identify maybe interesting grammar there or interesting vocabulary and take notes of those. All right. Still about grammar, maybe if I want to practice a specific grammar structure, just ask ChatGPT, for example, for a list of songs with that structure. Oh, I've been learning passive voice. Give me some songs that use passive voice in their lyrics. I've been learning second conditional. Give me some songs that have second conditional in their lyrics. You're gonna find it. Yeah. So it's about being laser focused. Then I would also take time after that to just read the lyrics, but analyzing the meaning of the song. All right. So it's kind of a loop. Yeah. I mean, I think the step by step would be surgical in your approach. You know which skill and practice that. And notice that you don't have to do that all at once, all in one sitting. For example, here's a recommendation. Pick a favorite song that you have. One, just one. Okay, one favorite song. Imagine Monday. Monday, you're just gonna listen to the song 3 times. You know, just listen to it 3 times and maybe read the lyrics along. That's it. Then on Tuesday, you're gonna focus on pronunciation. So you're gonna be doing shadowing with the song, singing along, listening and repeating. Yeah, you spend 15, 20 minutes doing that. You see, it's all pronunciation. Then on Wednesday, with the same song, right? You focus on vocabulary and grammar from the song. Maybe that session could be a little bit longer. Yeah, maybe 30 minutes or 40 minutes. highlight interesting vocabulary, and grammar to study later or to double check later. And then on the next day, where are we now? Thursday. Yeah. You can read the lyrics to understand the meaning of the song. Like, what is the song talking about? Yeah. What is the main core message here? All right. And then Friday, you can just listen to the song again and review your notes. You can be pragmatic like that. I mean, just focus on one skill at a time if you don't have time to do it all in one sitting. You know, it might actually be even better to do that, just one skill per day. Yeah. With the same song. And then next week, you choose another song and then you do the same. All right. There are some useful websites as well or apps that you can use. There was one a few years ago, maybe they still, it's still up and running, called Lyrics Training, lyricstraining.com. Google that, lyricstraining.com. As I recall, it was a very nice app slash website, yeah, to practice listening specifically, yeah, with songs, filling the blanks, filling the gaps. So make sure you do that. But the step by step for me would be that, just being surgical about it, just being laser focused and focusing on one skill at a time, you know. And guys, you can apply the same pragmatism to books that you read in English, to articles, to movies, to podcasts that you listen to TV series. Yeah. One skill per session, one skill at a time. But you see, that's what I mean by being active. It's work, you know, it takes work for you to do that. But that's what makes a difference. All right. Leonardo, don't forget to hit the like button, guys. Yes, thank you for reminding everybody, Leonardo. Really appreciate that. Yes, guys, please hit the like button. It helps me a lot. Yeah. If you like my videos, if you like these lives, if these lives have been fun and enjoyable to you, and you want me to keep doing them, yeah, share the videos, like the videos. Don't be just a ghost. What's the expression? A ghost follower? Is that it? There's an expression for that. I forgot now. The person that watches everything, you know, but never likes the video, never leaves a comment, never shares. But the person is always watching. Yeah, there's an expression for that type of viewer. I don't know if it's a ghost viewer or something like that. If you know, let me know in the comments here. Yeah, don't be that kind of viewer. Be an engaged viewer. Yeah, participate, share, like. Yeah, it helps creators like myself, to keep doing this work. All right. Let me see here if I have more interesting comments. Can you send those slides to us? I appreciate that. I have to think of a way to do that. I mean, I can share the slides, no problem, Vinicio. I just have to think of a way to do that. Let me sleep on it, yeah, and see how I could share those with you guys. All right. Francis Camargo, this is my first time here, and I feel really happy. Nice, Francis. I'm happy that you're here. Thanks for joining. Welcome to the live. Yeah. In my opinion, the most important thing learning through music is pronunciation linked with the connected speech. Yes. When you finally do this correctly, is like a big win. Yeah, it's true. Pronunciation and connected speech. Yeah. Do you guys remember? Oh man, this is gonna sound so out of context for me, yeah. But do you remember the Spice Girls? Spice Girls. Yeah, I think it was from, I don't know, that pop group from the late '90s or early 2000s. They have that song, oh man, I forgot. Yeah, if you wanna be my love or blah blah blah. That song is great for connected speech, because the lines are sung very quickly, you know, and there's a lot of connected speech there. I forgot the song now. Yeah, if you want to be my love or something like that. Yeah. Let me see here. Vladimira Salinas. Hello, teacher Chago. I'm Gregorio Lum from Bolivia. I'm listening to your channel. Very good. Thank you. Yeah. Welcome from Bolivia. Nice. Nice, 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 nice. Uh, 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 uh. Okay. Alexandre. Yes, Alexandre. I'm live. Yeah. I'm live now. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You asked if I was really live. Yeah, I am. Yeah. This is me live now. Yeah. Right now. Yeah. Okay. Vinicio, I heard the same song again and again and again for 3 days consecutively for 2 hours to finally sing it. It's not so good, like my singing skills. Yeah, I mean, like I said, you don't have to be a pro singer, you know, but your focus is not to be the next The Voice artist or American Idol, whatever. Yeah. It's just to practice your pronunciation in your speaking, That's it. Yeah. Francis, if I can understand 98% of this conversation, what could be my English level? Francis, I get this comment a lot on my channel, like, under my videos, like a lot, many comments like, oh, if I understood all of this video, what level am I? Or if I understood 90%, 95%, what level am I? Look, if you understand a lot of it or pretty much all of it, I would say that your listening skills might be, I don't know, very well developed, maybe B1 to B2 level already. Because, I'm not using crazy advanced language here, to talk to you guys. It's just everyday communication here that I'm using in terms of language. So I would say maybe your listening could be considered B1 to B2 already. Yeah. But I don't know about the other skills. Yeah. I mean, whenever you are interested in knowing about your level, you have to take all the four skills into account. Yeah. So the listening is one of them, of course, but also speaking, writing, and reading, you know? So it's very common for you to maybe have certain skills that are more developed than others. You might realize if you take a proficiency exam that your listening skills are very good, but your speaking skills are not that high, you know, or your reading skills are not that good or writing. So ideally, you want to focus on all the four skills to be more balanced as a learner. I think it's kind of bad if you have listening skills at B2 level, but your writing skills are at A2 level. That's not, it's a little bit too, imbalanced, right? Or unbalanced. So, to answer your question, I would say that your listening level might be very good already, maybe B1 to B2, but you have to look at the other skills as well. And the best way to do that, Francis, is by taking a proper proficiency exam, a proficiency test. For example, like TOEFL, IELTS. My favorite is the Cambridge exams. But yeah, take one of those tests to really find out what your level is. Okay. That's a good question. Yuga Ip, do you understand every song you listen? No. I mean, no. Like, how can I put this? I understand the main idea usually of every song I listen to. Like, if I'm listening to, if I am like, I don't know, in the car and there's a pop song on the radio, yeah, I'm gonna understand the main idea of the song, like, what the message is. Is that a love song? Is that a party song? You know, but I might not get some lines, or some words. Yeah. Because it depends on how it goes beyond just the words. It depends on the style. It depends on even how the song is produced, the equalization of it all, the mixing. So it really depends. Or if you have maybe a genre like rap or hip hop, I mean, I'm not going to understand everything there. Yeah. Now, what usually happens is this. If I listen to a song that I don't know for the first time, I might get the meaning or the general idea, but not every single word. But then when I read the lyrics, I understand pretty much all of it. You know, there might be maybe one specific slang or colloquialism that I don't get. Then, if I'm interested, I'm gonna look it up. You know, but to be honest with you, um, I am an old person in the sense that I'm not that old in terms of age, but I have an old soul. So I like to listen to old music. Okay, so I usually listen to the same stuff. I don't listen to new music, for example. I don't listen to new pop songs, and I only listen to my music taste is all in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. That's it. You know, maybe some stuff from the early 2000s, but that's already pushing it for me. You know, most of the music I listen to are songs from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. And I have my favorite bands, my favorite artists, and I listen to the same songs over and over and over again. So because of that, when it comes to my favorite songs or my favorite artists, I understand every single word because by now I have memorized the lyrics to the songs, because I've listened to them thousands of times in my life by now. It's also that it's repetition. Yeah. So if you listen to a song thousands of times, you will know the lyrics by heart. So when it plays on the radio, you might have the feeling that you understand everything, but the real reason why you understand everything is because you know the lyrics by heart. Yeah, you have it memorized, you know? So yeah, that's what I would say, you know? But usually, yes, I would say that, I don't know, maybe 95% of the time, yeah, I understand everything. There might be some new songs or genres that I'm not that into, that I might not get everything, you know. But my bands and my songs, like the favorite ones, I know all of them. Yeah, I know what they talk about, like the message of the lyrics of the songs, the vocabulary, So because I like them, yeah, it's interesting to me, you know. But that was a good question. Good question. Henrique Gonçalves, I love you, man. I'm learning a lot with you. Thank you, Henrique. Appreciate that, man. Thanks for the support. Yeah. I'm glad to know that you have been learning, yeah, with me here, yeah, on YouTube. Isn't that amazing, guys? I mean, technology, right? I mean, think about maybe, I don't know, 20 years ago, 30 years ago, what we are doing now here, that wouldn't be possible, you know? Like me connecting with you here live and seeing your comments, responding to you now. Amazing, isn't it? So, we live in challenging times as every generation has their problems and challenges, but we also live in wonderful times, I think, because of that. Yeah, I think technology has helped a lot in many areas. Of course, challenges have a reason, from that as well. But there's also the good side, yeah, and this is one of them, yeah, the good side of technology. Uh. Wagner, sorry, sometimes I am a ghost. Oh, thanks for your honesty, man. But whenever possible, like the video, comment, share the video, yeah. That helps me a lot, yeah. But I appreciate the honesty. I'm a ghost. Let me see here. Oh, Jose is asking a question, very specific, yeah, and it's completely unrelated. What level of English did you have when you worked in the call center industry? Oh man, I would say B1 plus, going B2. I wouldn't even consider B2 yet. I think my level back then was a B1 plus level. B1 plus. I understood well and I spoke well. Yeah, in terms of pronunciation, I still made considerable mistakes when speaking, but that wasn't a problem for me to get the job. My English back then was operational enough to do the job. And I was young. I was 19, that was my second job ever. So, yeah, I would say my level back then was probably B1 plus. I wouldn't even call it B2, you know, maybe B1 plus going to B2, but not a solid B2 yet, um, and that's testament, right? That you don't need to have a super crazy advanced level of English for you to get a job in English, or a job that uh, requires you to speak English every day, As long as you have good enough English to maintain conversations and understand people and perform the work, and you show willingness to learn and improve, you know, you might get it. You might get the job, you know? But of course, it depends. It varies from company to company, from position to position. All right. But yeah, B1 plus, I would say. It's a good question. Merlin James, when does registration close for the next course? Merlin, if you are thinking about the accelerator program, it's Monday. Next Monday, we officially begin the accelerator. Just to remind you here, the accelerator program is a 3-week program. And every Monday, you unlock one new video lesson that is recorded, teaching you vocabulary and grammar to help you answer the questions from the week. All right. And each week has a topic. So week 1 is going to be all about movies and TV series. Week 2 is about music. And week 3 is about books, and literary works. So on Monday, on each one of the 3 Mondays of the program, you receive a lesson to teach you the language that you can use to talk about those topics. And then with it, you also get 2 prompts or 2 questions. And then you have to record your answers to those questions in audio message on Telegram. You know, audio messages up to, let's say, 3 minutes approximately. And then I'm going to listen to your message, responding to my question. And then I'm going to send you another audio message giving you feedback on your pronunciation, grammar, vocabulary, on how you answer the question. Yeah. And the whole communication happens like that. Happens on Telegram for 3 weeks. You can send me questions on Telegram for 3 weeks, of course, related to what we are discussing in the program. But yeah, we can interact Monday to Friday for 3 weeks on Telegram. I think it's a great program because of the flexibility. This is not about having live classes on Zoom or having to dedicate a lot of time in a week to do it. It's flexible. Yeah. So whenever you have 10 minutes here, 15 minutes here, you can watch the lesson, and then you can record a message. And then later you listen to my feedback, and then you record a follow up. So it is dynamic like that. Yeah. This kind of program we call asynchronous. Asynchronous because, we don't have to be live to make it happen. I can answer you at my time. You can answer me at my time. You can do the work at your time, So that's it. But yeah, registrations for the accelerator close on Monday. Yeah, because it starts on Monday. All right. But Merlin, I also have my private community. Yeah, that's another product. Yeah. It's the Fluency Hub. So, that is a subscription model type of service. Yeah. Uh, you might want to check it out too. This one is more ongoing. Yeah. The private community. Yeah. You get to meet people online for conversation practice. We have the conversation club there with the members every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. BRT, Brasilia time. Members meet to discuss a topic together. So by being a member of the private community, you get to join these sessions, and also one live coaching session with me per month. Yeah, I join the community members once a month for a 90-minute Zoom call. Yeah. So that could be another possibility. And also, Merlin, there is the Fluency Discovery call. Yeah, that is one single call that you purchase, you schedule, and then you and I meet for 1 hour and a half on Zoom. And the purpose of this call is for me to help you determine what your level of English is in the moment and what you have to do to go to the next level. So if you are in need maybe of maybe a diagnostic, a diagnose of your English. Maybe the Fluency Discovery call might be the first starting point, you know? And then from there, yeah, I could recommend you maybe the community or the accelerator program. Yeah. But, you know, just learn more about the solutions and see if any makes sense to you, you know? Francisco Johnson. Hello, Teacher Thiago. Hello, Francisco. Nice to have you here. Francisco, I get the feeling, correct me if I'm wrong, but I get the feeling that you joined the accelerator program, right? That's going to start now on Monday. If you did, make sure you join the Telegram group, okay? Because I know the communication is going to start officially on Monday, yeah, on Telegram. So if that's really you who signed up, make sure you join the Telegram group, all right? If you have any problems, send me an email, yeah, and then I can help you with that, all right? Anderson, hello, Chago. I am late. Oh, no problem. Yeah, hey, Anderson. Nice to have you here again. Yes, I remember you. And yeah, I mean, thanks for joining, even if it's a little late. You can watch the recording later, yeah, here on the channel, no problem. Let me see here. X Force BR. Hi, Chago. I think I remember you too. Yeah, you were here last week as well. Hi, Chago. How are you doing? Do you have tips to improve comprehension while reading? Sometimes I can understand words in a text, but when I finish it, I can't remember exactly what the text was about. Yeah, I think maybe it's the way you are reading the text, you know? Because look, if you are reading a text and you are focusing on the words at an individual level, the unknown words, I think your brain is not going to be able to process the meaning of the paragraph or the meaning of the text because your brain will be busy focusing on the words, the vocabulary that you don't know, the unknown expressions, you know. I think it's all about the focus, you know. So my recommendation is change the focus, you know. Make sure you use both focuses. One focus is you read the text to understand the meaning of the text. In that approach, you don't worry about vocabulary you don't understand. Accept the fact that there will be words in that text that you won't know, you won't understand, but that's okay. You're not going to stop to check them, write them down. You're not going to do anything with those words, you know? You're going to focus on understanding the main message of that paragraph or that text. This is one approach to reading, reading for meaning, you know? Oops. But then later you can also approach you can also use the second approach, which is studying with the text. Now your focus is not so much about the meaning of the text, but about learning new words. So now you're going to scan the text and look for words that you don't know or that you find interesting. And then you're going to underline them, transfer them to your notebook or vocabulary app, you know, and then you're going to check their meanings. You're going to look up examples. But you see, that's another approach. Yeah. So my recommendation will be that if you experience this, like, you know, understanding words in a text, but when you finish it, you can't remember what the text was about, probably because you are focusing on the individual vocabulary, you know, and not on the overall meaning, you know. So start doing that more often. And guys, it's okay for you to read a book in English, for example, and not understand every single word, you know. I love Game of Thrones, you know. I've read the first three books, you know, the three Song of Ice and Fire books, yeah, the Game of Thrones books. And there are words there that I don't know, but that didn't stop me from reading the books, enjoying the story, and understanding the story. You know, because sometimes they would use a word that was so weird, like, you know, to describe the character's clothing from those times, you know. So I was like, yeah, I mean, I know it's an item of clothing that is being used here. I don't need to know exactly which item that is. Not important to me to enjoy the story, you know? So remember that it's okay for you not to understand every single word in the text, all right? But yeah, employ these two approaches to reading, all right? Reading for meaning, and then reading for vocabulary or study. Okay? Francis, thank you, teacher. Your answer is very useful to me. My pleasure. Yeah, my pleasure. And by the way, Francis, if I can offer a correction here, if you don't mind, the word useful has one L. Okay? Write useful with just one L, not double L. All right? Wagner, in my opinion, songs concatenates the words, making it hard to understand. Yeah, that is true. I mean, I think I mentioned that today. Some uh, some songs, some artists, they change the way they sing the lyrics to fit the melody, and that can be challenging. But it's good listening practice. Yeah, it's very good listening practice. Um, think about it like that, right? If it is hard, that's good. If it is uncomfortable, that is good. Because it pushes you. Yeah, it pushes you to train your ear. Yeah. So there you go. Thiago is a musician like me and relish to play blues or rock. Oh man, I love blues and rock. I love both. What kind of instrument do you play, Anderson? I wonder. Yeah, but yeah, that's cool, man. Vinicio, as a Brazilian, I think that's normal. Not understanding 100%. I don't understand almost nothing about the luva de pedreiros vocabulary. Oh my God. I mean, I'm sorry, Vinicius, but I don't know what you're talking about. What is luva de pedreiro, man? I mean, I think I am missing that cultural reference. Is that a channel? Is that a book? I mean, what is it? Yeah, a TV series? Yeah, let me know. But yeah, I mean, even native speakers don't understand every single word of their own language. If you pick an American, a British person, they're not going to understand every single word they hear. Um, it's normal. Yeah. Nobody is a walking dictionary, but there are specific vocabulary that are used more often in everyday conversation. But the important thing is for you to always try to get the main gist or the main idea of what you're reading, what you're watching, what you're listening to, you know? Pop songs are way easier to understand than rock and metal. Agree? I agree. I think so. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the rock, right? I mean, if you listen to maybe classic rock, like older bands from the 70s and 80s, I think it's easier, yeah, to understand. But metal, yeah, is a little bit more extreme, so that might be harder, yeah. The more high notes and screaming notes. Yeah, pop songs in general are much easier, especially if you listen to old pop songs. Okay, I don't know what it is, guys, but the way music was used to be produced in the past was very different. When I listen to pop songs from the 80s, for example, the vocals are very clear. They're very clearly recorded. When I listen to pop songs from today, everything seems so compressed and loud. It's the way that they are producing music nowadays. So I find it challenging sometimes to understand like new pop music, because of the way it's produced. Yeah. Not because of the English. Yeah. But if you listen to like old artists like, Madonna, for example, Prince, or even Michael Jackson, you will realize that, man, it's much clearer, much easier to understand them. Yeah. But yeah, in general, I would say that pop songs are way easier than rock and metal songs, for sure. Just like pop songs are way easier than rap and hip hop songs as well. Okay. Luis, hey Thiago, I'm learning a lot with your videos. My listening is good, but I have a hard time speaking. I hope you beat all your goals. You are a very talented teacher. Do you have some curso for practice more? First of all, Luis, thank you for the support, yeah, for the wonderful comment. That's great. Um I you know like I said, I mean, I have my Speaking Accelerator starting out on Monday. The link is in the description. You can go to the page and read more about it. And I also have the Fluency Hub, my private community. Read more about it in the page and learn more about it. If it makes sense to you, sign up. Yeah. And if you have questions still about the program or even the payment, send me an email. Yeah. If you go to the pages, my email is there at the bottom. Send me an email and then we can talk. All right. But yeah, I mean, I would recommend either the Speaking Accelerator for you or the Fluency Hub, the community. But do check it out. All right. Luis, still speaker and writer, intermediate level. You will do the IELTS in the future. Do you think if I study watching your videos, is it enough? No, Luis. No. Yeah. To be very honest with you, if you plan to do IELTS in the future, not just my videos, any videos, okay? Just watching teachers' YouTube videos is not going to be enough. You know, for IELTS and for any other test, you also need to practice the test. We have, we have mock tests. Mock tests are simulations. So if you plan to do IELTS in the future, I recommend you prepare, with exercises from the test, do simulations, mock tests, do exercises from the exam, and maybe even get a teacher, get a private teacher or enroll at a course that prepares you for IELTS specifically, because there might be some language there that you still have to fix, in order to do well on the test. Yeah, so usually test preparation is a combination of two things, right? It's a combination of enhancing or improving your English level so that you do well on the test, but also making you familiar with the test format, the papers, how the time, so just watching videos is not enough for IELTS, okay, Luis? So properly prepare. And if you are in doubt about that, maybe seek help from a teacher, for that. All right. Interesting. I can't understand almost everything from System of a Down. They talk a lot of poetic things. Yeah. Some bands can be quite lyrical, yeah, in their message, yeah. But then there is a website, I think it's called Genius.com. It's a great website. I think it's Genius. Let me just double check here on my phone, just a second, just to make sure that I'm giving you the right website. But I think it's Genius.com. Let me see. Yeah, it is Genius, genius.com. Yeah. In this website, you can actually learn more about the story behind songs. You have excerpts from like comments from the artist who wrote that song, like talking about the lyrics, what it means, or what the person was thinking when they wrote that. You know, ah, and maybe you can also watch interviews with the guys. Like watch interviews with the artists. Yeah, and maybe see if they are talking about one specific song or an album. Usually artists do that. Yeah, they give interviews explaining about their intentions, their inspiration when were writing their songs, right? So uh here's a recommendation. Axel, Thiago, long time watching you, but first interacting with you. Nice, Axel. Thanks for watching for a long time and welcome. Yeah, nice interacting with you as well. Venka, hi Thiago. My problem is that I can understand every English video or podcast, but I can't speak in English. What should I do? Speak more, Venka. Probably the reason for that is this is because you have been listening more English than you are producing, than you are speaking. And as I always say, the skill we focus more on tends to develop better and faster. So, yeah, I mean, you should be looking for opportunities to speak more English. You can start speaking by yourself, shadowing videos, listening and repeating, having conversations with yourself. But eventually, you want to join some sort of conversation club, community, meet people to speak English with. You know, my private community could be a solution for that. Learn more about it. But eventually, yes, you need to be in a situation, in a place that allows you to speak more. You know, but also to make you feel a little bit better about this, Vanka, remember that the speaking skills are usually the last skills to come. At least for me, that's how it happened. You know, I remember vividly that all my other skills developed first: reading, writing, listening, but speaking took longer. It was the last skill that fully developed for me, So just be patient, yeah? In combination with seeking opportunities to speak more, be patient because, speaking is usually the last skill to fully develop, you know? Watering the pipes again. Eddie. Oh, Eddie, I think I remember you. Yeah, I think we were here in past lives as well. Yeah. In your own opinion, what would you say was the hardest topic when you were just a learner? A topic maybe took you more than you had expected to master it. That's a good question. I have to think now. I have to think of that. Go back. Guys, sometimes that is challenging for me because it's been such a long time that I'm doing this. That sometimes it's hard to remember specifics. Like that. But let me think. The hardest topic or the one that took me more than expected to master. Uh, Look, to be honest with you, I think I'm not gonna give you a topic. I'm gonna say C1 vocabulary. I would say, like more advanced vocabulary, because I spent many years of my teaching career at a B2 level. You know, because with a B2 level, you can already teach beginners and pre-intermediate learners. So I remember that when I had to make the leap, to C1, that was challenging. There were some words for me that didn't make any sense. You know, so maybe that I would say understanding and using some more C1 words that was more challenging for me. It took me a few years, to really solidify that. That's what I would say. And to be honest with you guys, I think that that's quite true. I think getting to a level of operational everyday English is quite easy, actually. Get into a level where you talk to people every day, you travel without any problems. It's not that hard. The hard part is moving beyond that, is learning those different words and more academic words that you don't really use in everyday conversation, but it's nice for you to know. Yeah. So for me, I think I took longer to develop like C1 and C2 vocabulary more. You know, it was a combination of years there. That's what I would say for now. Yeah. If I remember a specific topic, I can share later here, but for now that's what I can say. Maybe some pronunciation stuff as well, like the th sound, for example, the th and the sound. Like thank you, nothing, something, and father, mother, brother. That sound. That took me a while to really master, really incorporate. I felt funny doing it when I first learned about it. Like, oh man, I have to stick my tongue out. That's weird. That, um, and I would say also, now that it's coming to me, maybe breaking some bad habits. Yeah, because the word, some sounds in pronunciation that I learned the correct way only later, like after many years already as a teacher, actually, I learned that I was mispronouncing a word or mispronouncing a certain sound. So changing that was challenging because, if you have been doing something for too long, you have to be very mindful about breaking that habit. I share this story all the time about the S sound, right? Uh, I was already teaching English when I learned that. When I learned that the plural for buses is buses and not buzzes, you know, and it's disappointed and not disappointed with a Z sound. And if you live close to the park, that's an adjective. But if you close the door, that's a verb. You see this S and Z sound. I learned that in my second teaching job. I was 20 or 21, It's been a long time already, but you see, I was already a teacher, and another teacher who knew more English than me back then and who was more experienced taught me that. So it took me a few months to break that habit and stop saying basic and start saying basic, for example. So yeah, these are some um, topics that I can think of right now. All right. From the top of my head, Carlos, saludos desde Mexico. Saludos. Thank you so much. Yes. I want to encourage you to read a book. Atomic Habits is an excellent book because, in my personal case, I can change my habits to learn a lot. Yeah, that's a great book. I read it. Yeah. And I even did a video about it here on my channel, I think last year. It's been a while already, where I read a little bit of chapter one and talk about that. So if you haven't seen that video, look it up. Yeah, it's from last year. But yeah, it's a great book. Yeah. And one of the concepts from the book that I like is this idea of atomic habits. Like, starting small, you know, focusing on the system first, like getting the system down, getting the habit implemented and then optimizing it later. Yeah, that is very powerful. Francisco, send me an email, okay, about Telegram. All right, send me an email and then we can talk about that. All right, about Telegram. Let me see here. Alexandre, I tried to read The Lord of the Rings, but it was difficult. Yeah, yeah, it's something more fantasy like, yeah, and some of the language there might be more epic, yeah. So, yeah, if it's too difficult, just pick another book, yeah. Atomic Habits, for example, is an easy book to read. It's not a story, yeah, it's not a fiction story, but that's one book, yeah. Or if you really want to read fiction, maybe Harry Potter. I think that Harry Potter might be easier than The Lord of the Rings in terms of language. Give that a try. All right. Oh man, so many questions here. Yeah. Tommy. Hello, Chago. Thank you for sharing your knowledge with us. I know at least one person who has achieved fluency in English by additionally using the music listening approach. It really works. Hey, it does work. It works a lot. Yeah. It's really helpful. Thank you for your comment, Tommy. Really appreciate that. Guys, great. Look, it's been wonderful. Yeah. And there's so many comments here, but I'm not going to be able to cover all of them now. But look, I just want to say thank you so much for hanging out with me. Yeah, today, once again. Do not forget to check out the Speaking Accelerator program, which starts now on Monday. Yeah. So registrations are still open. If that's not maybe the solution for you now, you can consider joining my private community as well, the Fluency Hub. Or if you prefer, you can also book a one-on-one call with me on Zoom so that we can chat a little bit and discover what your level is in the moment. All right. So All the links are here in the description of the video. I'm going to leave them later. But for now, thank you so much for being here with me once again. And have a great weekend and a great week to come. And I'll talk to you guys very, very soon. All right. Thank you. Stay safe and bye bye.